We call the meeting to order at 8 o'clock. First order of business is approval of minutes of November 2025. Are there any comments or additions? Not hearing any, we're gonna go ahead and approve those. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, passes unanimously. At this point, we are short a full 9, so I'll appoint Brian Cannell as a full voting member today. Budget update and expenses, Andrea.
Yeah. The current budget, the current balance is $86,785. The expenses for the expenditures are $4,373. This period, we had 2 line items with the comedy software that hit this month. It's $2,988. It should have hit sooner, but the invoice was emailed to the wrong WPCA email. And so I hope we addressed that. And then the other expenses for the clerk. So the expenses for this period were $3,258. So we've only spent about 5% of the budget. The other
they don't have me in here. I got the picture, but they're not letting me in for volume.
Well, we can hear you. Brad? Can you hear us?
The chat won't let me chat. It's turned off.
Brad, can you hear us?
He's quashed out.
Mhm.
I can't hear him, but there's meeting. I'm not getting nothing.
Put up your volume, maybe?
I'm like microphone on.
Turn the volume down a little bit.
I'm not worried about that. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I got it. All right, I don't really know the table cameras.
Well, I can hear Brad and I can hear you. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I hear you as well. This is Brad.
Okay, Brad, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Okay, so, all right. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andrea. I'm sorry.
The other thing there's a few other things I wanted to speak about. The next item is clean water funds. So I've met with Lee Rogers, Anita, Martha, and 2 more submission packets were sent to the Clean Water Fund, a total of 6 invoices, all to Woodward and Kern. The first packet was 2 invoices for $29,452.50. And the second packet included 4 invoices for a total of $61,152.50. And the all 6 invoices were paid in full. So we're just waiting for the reimbursement. All the documentation was sent. So we expect hopefully to get that before the end of this month. So that would be 3 packets sent for clean water funds. We're not ready to do the construction loan, but that is in discussion. We did not spend any money this month for ARPA funds, but we have until December of 2026, and that monies will be still be utilized for the shared infrastructure expenses as we get them.
got an email today from Lee Rogers about using funding there. And he has some questions that I'll forward to you,
Okay.
and I'm sure you can work it out. If not, then
So then the other thing is Martha asked us to explore with Lee if the referendum expenses would be covered by clean water funds, and the answer is no. So this referendum is basically gonna cost about $5,000. And fingers crossed, we're hoping that there's enough money in the town budget, since 2 referendums are included in the town budget every year. So, that discussion is still with Martha.
thank you very much.
Yep.
Are there any questions for Andrea? Okay, so I'm going to, the next thing on the agenda is a cost per EDU presentation using actual bid results and accepted figures. So, I know that there are a lot of numbers out there that, people have been citing, and I wanted to show a comparison of our numbers, the numbers that we actually have versus what the BOS presented numbers were. I did speak to Jim about the numbers, and he said that he pulled them either from DEP or Fuss and O'Neill. I believe him. So it's just a matter of, and I'll just go through this. So the Board of Selectmen presented their thing for referendum, and I disagreed with how they presented it. I mean, in their numbers, but mainly how they presented it, because 7-249 talks about what the assessment is, and the assessment is basically the cost that's being financed, or the cost of the project, less all the funding, grants and forgiveness, divided by the amount of EDUs, and that will give you basically your cost per EDU. That's what we've been figuring out this whole time. We've been figuring out how to allocate EDUs, but basically it's your assessment is derived out of that number. And it's a what I call a base number. It doesn't, the 7-249 specifically states that you don't include interest in that number, and you don't, and you can, and it's made up of the assessment, and it's not made up of connection fees. So there's a connection fee that's associated with connecting into our system, not connection fees to New London or East Lyme. That's different. There's a connection fee and there's an assessed fee. Those two basically added up would equal your assessment. To be clear, the assessment and the connection fee are going to be billed at the end of the project, and they can be paid immediately. So if the number, my number here is about $38,711. If they get a bill for that, for the connection fee and the assessment, you can write a check out for that, and that's the end of your liability. That you've paid off all your assessment, and that's it. There will be no interest because you've already paid your bill. So if you choose to pay interest, it's because you feel it's a better financial decision to pay over time at 2%. It's your choice, but the assessment isn't your final number that you paid into the system. It's based on the base value. Just like when you buy a car, you're not financing, you don't buy the car for the end value of your finance charges. You buy it at what they're selling it for, and the cost of the car does cost you more, but you bought it for the price that was listed at the dealership. Or if you're good at negotiating, probably less. But so that's what I'm going to present this just so that you can see the differences of the numbers and how I got to my numbers and how the BOS got to theirs. So in construction, we actually have a bid. Our low bidder is $8,551,950. So that's the amount. It's not gonna go above that, that bid amount. The Board of Selectmen used $8,700,000. So that's a difference of about 140,000 or so. Contingency, we used and agreed to use the accountant's figures. The accountant used a figure of 5%, so that's what I've included. DEP used 6%, so there's a difference there of about $120,000, $115,000. Design costs, we have design costs, it's $615,200. And our contract engineering administration, we have a quote for $855,000. If you total those together, it basically comes out to $10,500,000. If you total the BOS presented numbers, it comes out to $11,342,000. Not much of a difference, but a difference. When you take the 25% out, that's gonna be granted to us. Our loan value would be $7,837,000 and change. And their loan value would be $8,506,000. So a difference of about $860,000. On the force main dioxide, I used pretty much their numbers all the way through. The difference is in contingency. I used 6% contingency, but I didn't include the engineering fees in that contingency because the engineering fees are set. We're not gonna have, we're not gonna add 6% to engineering costs. That's a fixed price. So the engineering fees come out, that I don't include them as part of the contingency package. So the way the DEP is proposing to fund this is they're going to give us a 25% grant and then subtract $15 million. That would leave us with a shared infrastructure cost of $4,844,000 versus the $5,150,000 that the BOS presented. Take our share of that, which is 29.7%, we would be liable for 1.38 million, maybe I can think of that. 1.438 million versus 1.529 million. Again, not much, but all these added up start to make a difference. So I have a cost of $9,276,155 versus $10,036,178. Then there's interest. So I figured a straight line draw over 18 months. The first month, we're not borrowing any money. There's zero. We're not paying interest on anything. At the end, we're gonna be paying interest on all of it. So you can take half in the straight line depreciate. The straight line draw basically assigns half of that value. So we have interest at 139,142 versus close to 270,000. So the amount being financed at the end is 9,415,297 versus 10,306,175. So there's a difference of about $1.1 million. I mean, all those little increments add up, which then affect your bottom cost. So our cost per EDU is $34,871. The BOS presentation was $38,171. Added to that per EDU cost is the tie-in fees to New London and East Lyme. financed at their respective rates. The final cost per EDU is $38,711.06 versus $42,010.61. And then what we'll be discussing next is the hookup fee. And the hookup fee, in our referendum, it says, let's see, where does it say this? I should have highlighted it. The cost per resident will be determined by an equivalent dwelling unit formula that has been approved by the WPCA. The users will also pay a one-time connection charge and an equivalent dwelling unit charge, as well as an annual charge for usage and system maintenance. Now, I requested that the equivalent dwelling unit charge in that sentence be changed to betterment assessment, because that's what it is. It's betterment assessment. The EDU charge is the combined total of a connection fee and betterment assessment. But in any event, so in the past, we've talked about a $6,000 connection fee. There are towns that go as high as, well, East Hampton does a $7,000 connection fee. Ridgeford does a $5,700. Southington does a $13,500. Brookfield does a $17,000 to $30,000, but that would likened to a combination of connection and assessment because it's based on linear footage and it's a one-time payment. So it's in the research I did, it said you should view that more as an assessment. Danbury pays between $3,800 and $15,000, also based on linear footage. The average is between $3,700 and $5,000 in the state. So we are a little above average, and that would be up for discussion when that comes up to on the agenda. But for now, it was $6,000. That was the number that we've gone off of for a while, which would bring me the assessment, betterment assessment to $32,711 versus $36,010. The Board of Selectmen went on to use the $42,000 figure, added 2% per year, came out with their figure of $62,000. As 7-249 states, interest and connection fees are excluded from the assessment. So their value at most would be $42,000. It would not be the $62,000 plus stated. Now, there is a $565 yearly fee that is estimated by Deep, but even Deep said that's on the high side. They think it's going to be lower than that, but that's not included in the assessment. So I left it there because the Board of Selectmen presented that in their thing for a total yearly expense of $31.21. That doesn't affect anything on the assessment either. So the cost per EDU and hookup fee, if it's at $32,711, would be $2,134 plus the usage fee. So it's about a $412 difference between the two, between these two numbers that are highlighted, based on the numbers that I've used versus the estimates that the BOS have used. Are there any questions to that on the board? Does everyone?
Excuse me, I do have a question. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
think when the Board of Selectmen presented and HRT did their numbers, they weren't aware of the $1.2 million increase in the force main. So how is that factored in here today?
I used the BOS numbers for that, and that is actually in there. It's a $12 million bid. Right there.
Okay, because
see
I
that?
remember Jim saying that they hadn't received that information yet about the increase in the force main and dioxide.
I believe that $12 million reflects that.
Can I jump in here for a second, Steve?
Sure,
It's- It's Jim, yeah. Mary, we were using 12 million. That's what Deep sent us on the 21st. That was their negotiated bid with Balthazar.
Okay.
We didn't have any of the escalators, but Deep sent out their numbers to Steve and to the Board of Selectmen on the 21st. And the Deep numbers are reflected in these numbers that we presented on the 24th. So everything on that 24th sheet is based either on Deep or the accountant's report from HRT.
Thank you.
And so if you go to the bottom, I've done a little math, and said if the average value of a home is appraised at 550,000, a 6% increase in value would exceed, the assessed value at $32,711. If it's 10%, then, you know, your average home would have to appraise it 32,500 or 32,000, or 327,000. So, you know, I don't know, I don't know how you can go 4 years to determine if your home has increased due to sewers or due to inflation or anything else. I believe that it would be one expert opinion versus another expert opinion in court, but you know, the lowest estimate that we had was from the Soundview Association. And I believe that was 6% or 5%.
It was 5%.
5%. The highest was 12%, and that was ours. If you take the difference and say it's gonna be average of 8%, I believe most homes would probably fall within that 8%, down there. So, the only other comment I have is I don't believe that, you know, the contingency of $427,000 for internal infrastructure. That is for unforeseen, that is for conditions that aren't indicated on the plan. It doesn't, if they hit more water than they thought, that's up to them to handle. If they go through more material than they thought, that's up to them to do that. There's very little, I mean, in Hartford, I'd say 5% is too little because there's too much stuff in the ground that you don't know about. But here we have a water main in the ground and a couple of drain lines. They know about them, they're indicated on the plan. There's a very slim likelihood that there will be many change orders that are substantial to eat into that contingency. As well as the fact that Kelowna has already reduced their price by about $400,000 due to the not having to use double wall pipe. So the contract amount really starts out at about 8.1 million. I believe there's a lot of money. I believe this is the highest this is going to be, not a lucky, I hope we come in under it. I think it's well overestimated. But that's my opinion, but I've used these numbers because we agreed to use them. So that's the presentation. I wanted to allow everyone to see how I derive are, at 38,000 versus 62,000 or 42,000, as it should have been stated. Those are I mean, all these numbers we've gone through before. I'm confident that they're accurate within probably 1 or 2%, give or take. And I just wanted that cleared up because I don't believe the Board of Selectmen ever gave this number or this number. They gave the numbers, oh, I can't see it. I don't believe they gave I don't believe they gave that number. Well, they didn't give that number, but they didn't give 36,000 either, or the 42,000. They wouldn't have necessarily have subtracted the 6, but they didn't show that the base cost is 42,000. They showed basically 62,000, but that included all the interest. So I wanted to clear that up, as the law states that you don't use interest in doing that.
Steve, we do show 42. We show the pre-interest cost for the all-in.
So Jim, I printed out something that's on the Town of Oldline
I
website.
don't see 42.
That's
on there.
called the, I don't know what it's called. And it's basically this sort of spreadsheet, and it doesn't have that $42,000 number on it. And it's the information sheet that's on the Town of Oldline website right now.
Hold on a
Who's-
second, Rob. I'm driving to work, so I'm pulling over right now. And I'll just take it out of my briefcase. Just take me a second.
But while
I
we're
mean, we may-
pausing on that, can we back up on the contingency for a minute, please?
Yeah.
The 400,000 contingency, does that allow, I know that the contract itself for the internal excludes the cost of police to monitor 156 while 7 inlays over at Area B are connected. What's the estimate of that? Because that would have to come out of that contingency since it's not.
No, I
And
think there's
I
an,
don't-
Mary, I think there's an allowance, or they have included traffic control on 156 in the bid.
They explicitly excluded police on there, on the contract, if you read the contract, the internal contract. It's explicitly excluded. So I
I think there's a bid item for it, or it's included in a bid item. I had a discussion with Jason about it. There's a bid item in there, or it's included in the cost of doing that work already.
I will, we can go back, outside of this meeting and look at the exact wording in the contract for the internal, because I'm saying it's explicitly excluded.
Okay,
Yeah, but it isn't anywhere near $400,000.
But what is it? But what is it, Randy? What is it?
Well, it's minimal.
$800 a day.
Yeah.
Let's say $800 a day for 2 weeks.
I'm taking a look at what we presented right now. And if you look about two-thirds of the way down where it says number of EDUs, 270, and then annual cost per EDU for infrastructure.
Yeah,
That's the cost before the connection charges and all that. And if you
but
look,
you never
it's-
showed us.
It's
what
shown as an annual cost
Yeah.
at 23,
You
25.
never showed us the base cost of which all these figures are
right,
derived
well,
from.
the base cost, well, all these figures, in A and B, I have all that broken out. And then the cost before interest, before anything, even before construction interest, is 10,036,179. So you just divide that by 270. I
Right,
mean, what we're presenting here is what everyone is going to actually end up paying per
yeah,
year.
but that's
But-
different than
but
the
I do-
assessed
I do-
value, Jim.
But I do have it broken out before interest.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
the
what
only,
that's
the only
just-
problem
So Jim, the $42,000 isn't there though. And I think that's actually an extremely important point because like Steve said, if somebody wants to pay $42,000 the day that the project's done, they can pay that. And so they're not gonna be paying something thousand dollars, over 20 years. And so that is an incredibly important number to have in there. And this is on
Okay,
the,
I
and this
mean,
is the
if
informational
that-
sheet that's on the town of Old Lyme website, and it's not.
I mean,
there.
if that doesn't, well, the only thing you would be taking out in that case would be the interest, because you're still on the hook for operations and maintenance. You're still on the hook for connection charges to East Lyme and New London. So you would pull out the 67,000 divided by 270. Because that's the
You're not,
interest.
no, the assessment doesn't
That-
include operations and maintenance.
No, that's separate.
That's separate. It does not include operations and
No,
maintenance in the
no,
assessment.
Further up on
No.
your spreadsheet, you need to have the $42,000 and then break it down to the 2325 that's there.
I think we're talking apples and oranges, because I'm saying that if you pay off the construction loan right away, you're still going to be paying these other charges. Just the interest goes away. So you're going to take that 42, but you're still going to add the connection charges. You're still going to add operations and maintenance to what your
No.
final
No, that's
yearly
not
cost
true.
is.
That's not true, because that 42 includes those connection
Includes the
charges
connection charge.
already.
The only thing you'll be paying is $565 a year. That's the point here, is that you
Oh.
paid off your construction cost and connection fees and everything. You'd be paying $565 a year.
If you're going to stipulate $42,000 as the low range, since
I'm
the.
not. I'm stipulating it's 38,711.
Okay, for one EDU, but then to be clear and to make it clear to the public, you should also include the high range, which is 3 times that. Since some properties will be assessed 3 EDUs.
No,
whatever that is.
Mary,
No.
it's not.
How many properties, Mary? You're trying to conflate this. How many properties is
I'm
that?
not, read the spreadsheet,
Yeah, there's like 4 properties, if that, maybe 2.
and a bunch in between, Corey.
Right.
Give you credit for it.
Mary, I don't have to triple it or anything. This is a cost per EDU. It's a
I think
cost.
that people
per
don't quite
EDU.
understand what an
It-
EDU is versus the property cost.
It doesn't change the value. So if you have 1.5 EDU, yes, you would be paying 1.5 times 32,000 or some 38,700 at the top. I don't think we should be using BOS numbers because I think they're inaccurate. But regardless of that, there's a reason why they're, the properties that are 1.5 times are, I think, commercial. Generally, those properties are valued more, or they're larger, square footage wise. We've tried to come out. We didn't try to get an EDU formula that would fit all our properties into one thing so that everyone is going to be responsible for the entire EDUs. We've done something that we think is fair and accurate based on property and based on the property itself. So the only way to determine if we were right or not is when someone argues it and there's a decision made. But I believe that these figures are correct. And in general, I don't think that if you have a home down in Sound View, you would be in your system failed. I think you'd be hard pressed to get a new septic system in for $38,000.
Payable within 30 days.
Payable within 30 days. So, I mean, I guess, I'm not a judge. I'm sure that some people will fight this. And that's why we spent years working on an EDU formula that we felt comfortable is equitably sharing costs between the properties.
Well, everybody in this conversation participated in that development of that EDU cost.
Correct. So, All right, so those, I did this because as Rob said, that 38,000 or the $42,000 number never shows up on the BOS presentation. And the bottom figure, the all-in amount of $67,413, I felt was misleading to the point where people thought that would be, and there are people in the meeting down below that felt that was what they were going to have to pay.
It is if you do the loan for 20 years, well, who's gonna get rich off of it, the town or the bank?
That's not the assessed value.
I know, I don't care about this assessed value. I just care
Please,
about the
please,
benefit.
sir, you're not
Okay,
recognizing.
yeah, please,
Okay.
please.
So,
I've been hearing that my whole life.
okay, well. All right, so that's the presentation. The next thing on the agenda is my chairman's report. The CSA status is completed. It has not been finished drawing up by our attorneys, but all terms have been resolved. And it's basically the Honorable Line WPCA is going to pay approximately $14,500 per home on a one-time fee basis to connect to either Old Colony or Miami Beach. And that will be coming out of the construction note itself. It saves us money for not putting in grinder pumps and maintaining the grinder pumps forever. And it reimburses the two beach associations for some of their infrastructure.
Steve, sorry to interrupt, but just, we should point out maybe to people that don't know that that's only a few property owners, right? That those connections pertain to, that's miscellaneous area.
That's miscellaneous area B. It's a construction, it's part of our construction cost because we're bringing the lateral to their homes and we're bringing that pipe into a manhole either controlled by Old Colony.
No, I understand, I just don't know that everybody does.
I guess to clarify, I think what he's asking is that $14,000 per house, it's only 8 houses or 10 houses total.
There's nine homes total,
Yeah,
7 to Old
That's my
Colony.
point.
Right.
Not,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it's 7 to Old Colony, it's 2 to Miami Beach, and that cost is being considered, at least by my WPCA as I'm chairman, a construction cost that'll be shared throughout the whole thing. Because in the end, it saved everyone about $170,000 by not putting in grinder pumps.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any questions on that?
I have a question for you.
Yeah, who is this?
Dennis.
Yes,
Um,
Dennis.
which properties in Miami Beach are included into that? Which two properties? Do you know?
I don't know offhand, Dennis. They're in area B. They're not, I don't believe they're inside,
There's-
they're not in Miami.
There's
Beach.
nothing, there's nothing in Area B that's Miami Beach. Absolutely
Okay.
I
nothing.
know I'm not recognizing,
close.
it's Cottage Lane,
Is
called
it
Cottage Lane
Cottage Lane?
by Rooney's Package Store.
Right, that's Area B.
Yes,
That's a Soundview area.
yes, and it's, and I think 2 houses on Cottage Lane will be tied into a Miami Beach controlled manhole.
Miami Beach is on the other side of 156. There would not be a manhole on 156. That's what I'm saying.
The manhole
It's
is in
not-
Mi-
it's-
no,
it's
no,
not
Dennis,
correct.
Dennis, the manhole is in Miami Beach, and so we're gonna have to run a pipe over to that manhole. Because there's no other way to run it.
Then where does the line for Teddy's and Rooney's and the white building, where does that
That,
pipe go
those,
to?
those I believe go to Old Colony.
They don't go to Old Colony.
They don't go to O'Connell, they go across the street. That's
No.
what I'm saying. There's statements being made and houses being added to, and no one here knows where it's going to.
Dennis, I'm sorry, you know who does know? Woodward and Curran, who designed the plans with Fuss and
And I've
O'Neill.
got a que-
I
and
got
I
a
saw
count,
Jason,
I got a
I saw
count from
Jason
Fuss.
online, and I'd like to speak to him when it's available.
Sure,
Okay,
you have the set of plans, you can come down and look at the set of plans.
I
It's
have a set of
detailed.
plans.
Okay, it's detailed.
Shown on the drawing.
It's shown on the drawings, which houses are going to be tied into that line. I'm sorry, I don't know them. I don't know the houses, but I know the amounts. There's 2 that go to Miami Beach and 7 that go to Oak Colony. For a total of 9 homes. Are there any other questions? All right, so that's the status of the CSA. I requested from the attorney to have a signed copy ready for us by the end of this week, so that can be signed by all parties. Project status, I think everyone knows the project has been on hold until the referendum. Referendum's going forward December 16th, be held in the town hall room between 12 and 8 next Tuesday, December 16th. I encourage everyone to vote. DEP funding is still available. They've decided to fund the shared infrastructure in a more comprehensive way. So that whatever the final amount of that cost is, they'll grant out 25% and then add another 15 million to reduce it. And like I said in my sheet, that brings it down to around $4.8 million, and then we would owe 29.7% of that. Is there any questions on the chairman's report? All right, not hearing any, we're gonna go on to new business. I'd like a discussion of allocation of costs for EDU into connection fee and betterment assessment fee. And, we usually do this backwards, but if I could have a motion, and then we'll discuss, afterwards. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. To discuss.
Can we have a more specific one?
I would make a motion that we allocate $6,000 per EDU as the hookup fee to the system, which would reduce the betterment assessment by that same number. And the hookup fee, as you discussed earlier, could be charged and paid for at the time of completion of the project for Soundview Beach and miscellaneous town area B, for any property that has a dwelling, or conversely, the hookup fee could be paid in full at the time of invoicing, or it could be combined with the betterment assessment and financed at the 2% compounded rate yearly.
I'm kind of confused.
Does
When
anyone
you
want to
say,
second that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Andrea.
I
Yes,
guess I'm
Mary?
confused because we have always said the hookup fee. Now we're talking about the pipe going from the property to the house, or are we talking about the hookup fee to New London?
We're not
Which-
talking about either. We're talking about a fee that is charged by the WPCA for the right to hook up into our system. And so this will affect the empty lots down at the beach. They'll be assessed, but they won't be assessed a hookup fee unless they hook up. Because they're dwelling less, and we do not know if they will ever get zoning rights, though.
Oh,
As zoning is now, they have the right, once sewer goes through, to build.
okay, I'm more confused. Last month, we voted unanimously to include the connection fees in the contracts to East Lyme and New London.
Correct.
Is
And we
that,
did.
are you changing that idea now or no?
No, no,
Okay.
this is an internal hookup fee charged by the Old Lyme WPCA for the right to hook into our system.
So that has nothing to do with the cost for me to hire someone to come to my house and run a new pipe and decommission my septic. So this is another charge, a different,
No,
totally
it's-
different
it's-
charge.
It's a fee that is deducted from the total EDU cost. That will leave an assessment cost and a connection fee cost. The EDU cost doesn't change. We figured out what the EDU cost is. It's $38,711. This would reduce that number for the right to hook up. Most WPCA's have a connection fee. When you go build a lot, that lot's been assessed, but they haven't been charged a connection fee because there was no home there. So when the contractor goes, they would go pick up a permit, and that permit would also include the connection fee. I
I'm
gave-
terribly confused. I'd have to understand it better before I could approve that. I really don't understand what you're saying at all.
Okay. All right, well, I'm sorry that I can't explain it
Yeah.
anymore.
Me too. This is
Yeah.
something new, last minute, that you guys just came up with. It sounds like you're trying to reduce, to make a
No,
public statement
Mary,
that the EDU is
it-
less than what it is. And really,
Mary.
in the end, it's what the end user is going to have to pay for the system, whether you call it an assessment or EDU or
Well, Mary,
connection fee.
as I read in the referendum bulletin, these users will have the option of paying a one-time lump sum upon completion of the new system or making payments over the term of the loan, which is anticipated to be 20 years. The cost per resident will be determined by an equivalent dwelling unit formula that has been approved by the WPCA. The users would also pay a one-time connection charge and an equivalent dwelling unit charge, which should have been a betterment assessment, as well as an annual charge for usage and system maintenance. It's not new, it's been known for years that there's going to be a connection fee. We've talked about cost per EDU. We haven't talked about assessment. We've talked about cost per EDU because most of the people, I guess, that have been on for a long time knew that there was a connection fee involved and an assessment fee or assessment valuation that makes up the EDU. And the only way to determine what that is to determine how much an EDU is and then back out the cost of a connection fee.
No, what we talked about was the cost of construction as part of as the EDU, the cost of construction, period. Not an additional connection fee. The
There is
cost
no
of
additional
construction.
connection. There
You
is
just said
not
it's
an
gonna be
additional connection fee.
$6,000.
It's not additional.
Spreadsheet backup. Is it-
Yeah, here, let me show you the spreadsheet again. Maybe you can take a look at it. I want to bring your attention to subtotal cost per hold on.
I can't see it.
Yeah, that's.
I guess I'm looking at this last paper you presented at the last town meeting. Didn't mention anything about an additional $6,000 connection fee.
It's not an additional anything. Of course I did.
Oh, you're moving again.
Not sure. There it is. All right, so Mary, I want you to look, at subtotal cost per EDU. It's right here. It's on line 41. That number's $34,871.47. To it, I've added the connection fee to London per EDU with interest is $2,599.59. To that, I added the total connection fee to East Line per EDU, which was $1,240. That was with interest also. That came out to $38,711.06. That is the total cost per EDU. If we decide to vote for $6,000 hookup fee, Town of Old Lyme hookup fee, your final assessment per EDU would be $32,711.06, reducing the total cost of EDU by $6,000.
Yeah,
And the connection fee, the town hookup fee is $6,000. Any
So-
town, any dwelling that, any property that has a dwelling on it would be billed the assessment and the connection fee or the hookup fee at the same time. The formula for the assessment is the total cost per EDU less the hookup fee. So whatever the hookup fee is, the assessment gets reduced. The total cost, though, isn't going to exceed, in this instance, $38,711.06.
okay, I understand. I thought what you were saying before was that that hookup fee was the cost out of my pocket to run a different pipe and decommission my working septic system. That's an additional charge. So no, I guess I didn't understand before that you were also trying to include an additional $6,000 fee for every property and then trying to take it back out so that the EDU number looks a bit lower. And that is what you're doing. It is still the cost of $38,711, if that's correct, per property, per EDU. It hasn't reduced the cost. You're just changing the terms. You're changing the
Right,
term. That's all you're doing, not the expense.
I didn't say we reduced the cost of the EDU. I reduced the cost of the assessment. I reduced the cost of the assessed value. And
Right,
section
you have
7
been told by
section
multiple
7
attorneys that you
Section
cannot do that.
7-49 state statute specifically states the assessed value will not include the connection fee, this connection fee, and any interest. It specifically states it. So it's not like I'm trying to do something crazy. The referendum called out the connection fee. It's not like we're just trying to figure out a number that we want to charge for a connection fee.
Certainly.
I
This
gave
is what the
numbers.
statute says, and I'll read it to you. Such assessment may include a proportionate share of the cost of any part of the sewage system, including the cost of preliminary studies and surveys, detailed working plans and specifications, acquiring necessary land or property or any interest therein, damage awards, construction costs, interest charges during construction, legal and other fees, or any other expense incidental to the completion of the work.
It says it may include it.
And it actually said interest during construction,
Interest during construction. It didn't say interest.
which is actually calculated into this.
It doesn't
too.
say anything about excluding a hookup, some hookup fee. It says any incidental expense for the construction. That's the hookup fee.
No, that's not a hookup fee. The hookup fee is not incidental to
Oh
construction.
my God.
It's a fee charged for the right to hook up to our system.
Okay, I guess that will become a legal matter at this point, that we're
It
just
won't
not
be a
going to
legal-
agree on.
Hold
We
on
will
here,
not agree
Mary,
on this.
Mary, it won't be a legal matter because we're gonna read you the statute.
I've already
We'll
read the
read you,
statute to
we'll
you
read you
too.
the thing. we'll read you seven
I
dash
have
two
it
four.
right in front of me. I don't need you to read it to me. I have it right in front of me. So it's an
Yeah.
interpretation of the statute and it will become
No,
a
it's
legal
not.
matter.
It's not an
Okay, Steve,
interpretation.
okay, Steve, maybe we should just
Steve.
move on.
No, we're not gonna move on. We're gonna read it.
We are.
Let me
Yes.
talk, okay? But look, it says
You have that.
hookup fee, right here. So it is hookup fee,
I know it's a hookup fee.
so you're gonna charge this 6,000 plus contractor will hook it up from the house to the.
I'm not charging anything for the contractor.
No, but this is total hookup fee,
Right, and this is only really concerning the properties without a dwelling.
and why do you have a 6,000? Why don't you have 2,000?
It could be whatever we decide.
Okay, let's do 2,000.
We could decide that.
Okay.
Hold on, Randy, do you have that?
Yeah, I'll just tell you what. The statute 7-249 talks about exclusions. Excluded from that is the assessment cap states that the total of the assessments, initial and supplementary, shall not exceed the special benefit accruing to the property, okay? And that's what we're talking about here. And what's excluded in there specifically is any interest that you pay as the homeowner or the property owner over the life of paying off that money. So if you pay that if you decide to pay it at the 2% interest, that's excluded from that cap. Okay. It also says in here, I'll just have to find the other. Forgive me because it's awfully small. Says under connection hookup fee. This is a separate one-time fee levied at the time a property owner actually physically connects their building plumbing to the main sewer line. This fee covers the specific administrative cost of inspecting and approving the connection, and sometimes is a share of the capital cost if the main assessment period has passed by. That's not the case here. What it goes on to say is that the hookup fee is not part of the cap, okay, that we're talking about. So if your benefit assessment relative to your cost, if your cost is higher than the benefit assessment, then that's a different story. But what we're saying here is that the hookup fee and the interest that you would pay do not factor into the calculation of that cap. And it's very clear.
I think that you have in the past received letters from Attorney Lord and Attorney Ainsworth clarifying their position from a legal standpoint that any attempt to sort the cost by pushing things over into user fees or connection fees will be challenged and have been challenged in court. So again, like this is going to be a court matter. If you continue, I mean, that's how it's been. There's court records on it and you have the letters. All of you have been here that long. They've read those letters, so.
Well, that's why we put extra money in the budget for attorneys, I guess.
Well, I think Mary is right.
Very good, Frank, Steve, very good.
This is gonna be question mark for the future. We don't have to have it. Really.
It's not a question mark in my book. I
That's
believe we have the
fine.
right to
Well,
charge.
you think-
They address hookup fees in the state statute.
Steve, you think you do everything right?
I don't think I do everything right.
No, here you are wrong.
So if there was no connection fee, the town's supposed to just send out an employee from the town and represent the town on who's nickel?
You have a building permit, you have connections.
Who pays for that employee's
I was
time?
hooking up on Point of Woods.
No, you're not answering my question. Who's paying for that time for that employee to go out from the town and inspect the service and inspect the job?
I think it's part of the project cost, Corey.
This is part of the.
It's not part of the
No.
project cost.
It's not part of the project
Because-
because it's not, the project's over.
Right, this could take place in 20 years from now. The project could be up and done, gone. You still need a representative from the town to make sure the installation is done correctly.
Point of Woods
That's
didn't
all this
pay.
is.
Point of Woods didn't pay for that. Homeowners, okay? I was pulling permit from online town. I was going to the house and hooking up. Inspector from the town was coming, this is his job to do. He get paid from by the town.
From where?
And everyone who is gonna hook up private beaches is gonna do the same way.
Mhm.
Okay, and this is a new surprise to me, this is line, $6,000. And if we have to do something, if it's necessary, why don't we reduce it? Yeah, it's gonna increase cost, showing cost of the job, of the, to the owner. It will increase it, because you're subtracting from $38,711, 6,000, the number is less. This what happens. I don't agree with you.
I have a question. This is Dennis. Has
Go
there
ahead,
been a
please.
subcommittee formed on this that I don't know about?
Absolutely not.
It's pretty funny that two people that are talking have very current knowledge of this, and this is the first we've seen it. Was today.
Well, I mean, I certainly wouldn't put something on the agenda, Dennis, that I haven't researched. I
I'm
just said, I said
I'm
the average,
talking
the average in
Rod
the
and I'm
state,
talking
the
Randy.
average in the state is $3,200 to $3,700. That's the average connection fee. $2,000 is not average. 32 to 3,700 is average in the state.
How did you come up
It's
with
not, this
6,000?
is not an old line thing. It's a state town thing. Most towns, I don't know of one that doesn't, but most towns charge a connection fee.
Well, why don't you give us a week or two and we'll look into that. We'll see what Glastonbury and Middletown, what everybody else is charging, and compare that also to their betterment fees. Because I think this is extreme. You just said the average is 2,300, but you want to
I
charge
didn't say that.
6,000?
I said it's 37. I said it's 3,200 to $3,700.
Well, how did you come up with 6,000? How did you come up with 6,000 then?
That was a number that was being carried from 10 years ago. Ever since I've been on the WPCA and sewers were being discussed, there was a number thrown out that a connection fee could be $6,000. That's what I put in there. You want it lower? Do you want it to the average of 3,500? Put it at 3,500, but there should be a connection fee. Now, who from the town? The town doesn't even have someone to go out and inspect sewers. This might
That's
be
true.
another job that you're gonna have to fund.
That's true. That should be included in the
Right,
cost.
maybe that's why you charge $3,200 for a connection fee.
Well, maybe that should be included in the cost of the bill then, because without
It's
the
not
connection fees,
part
it's
of the
not.
build, Mary.
No, I would disagree.
The
I
project is,
disagree.
the project is completed before anyone could connect. So the
I
project is
disagree.
done.
Okay, I could disagree with that.
Okay, you're gonna connect before the project's done?
No, I think it's part of the,
Oh,
it's part of the project. It's part of the project fee.
It's not part of the project fee.
The project is not complete until people actually connect to it. If no one connects, there's no flow, there's no project. You just have pipes in the ground. It is part of
Well,
it is part of the project
The
fee.
project that Old Line funded will be completed.
It'll be dead in the ground unless someone connects to it. It's part of the project fee.
Part of our ordinance is that you have to
Okay,
connect.
let's let the selectmen make that decision. I
I
don't
don't
think
have
it's
to
your
make the
decision to make.
selectmen make
You
that
can decide
decision.
whatever
It's
you
up to the
want.
WPCA to make this decision. It's not up to the Board of Selectmen. It's
It
up
is
to the
up to them to
WPCA.
approve any decision that this board of, this WPCA makes, still has to be approved by the Board of Selectmen.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, God, how many more days?
I have a
Yes,
comment.
yes, Andrea.
We have a motion on the table. Do you want to reread it so we know what we're discussing?
Yeah.
The motion was to allocate $6,000 per EDU as a hookup fee, which is what we're talking about. That's the motion.
And then how to, the options to pay for
And
it.
the options for paying for it are you can pay for it when the project is complete. And you're invoiced, or you can choose to pay it. As part of the betterment assessment, financed at a rate of 2% compounded yearly.
How do people feel about this?
Let's reduce the price.
What do you think is a reasonable price?
$3,000.
Number out of the
I'm
air.
gonna say over 4,000, because if you use the term connection fee for New London and East Lyme, you add those two numbers up, you get 3,800 roughly. So that's your starting point is 3,800, just as a basis for a number.
3,800, okay.
Do we want to add something in the motion that we're suggesting this price?
No,
This is okay, but that,
it's our responsibility to set this price as a WPCA. It says in the statute, the WPCA shall determine.
so can you review your research with us again?
Well, I gave you higher ones than ours. But I did a search, on the average cost, of a hookup. And it said it was between $3,200 and $3,700. And it's a range because a lot of people have linear footage or square footage. So, but I mean, East Hampton, $7,000. They have $7,000 connection fee. You go in there, I want to hook up my house to the sewer, it's gonna cost you $7,000.
And how much of an assessment is it on top of that?
I don't
Nothing.
know. I don't
Nothing.
know. Well, I don't know, Mary. I don't say it's nothing. I don't know. If the 20 years has gone by, maybe there's no assessment. I don't know. But I don't go around researching everyone's
so-
town's internal WPCA documents.
All right, so
I'm-
as of this point, we don't really know. That's what you're saying.
As of this point, I know that East Hampton's is $7,000.
Do we know what the beach associations are charging?
I have no idea. I didn't ask the beach associations. They are doing things very much differently than we are.
Of course.
Some of them are charging a straight fee, no matter what size house, just as that gentleman said. What size house it is, whatever it is, they're charging a straight fee.
And what are they doing with that money? Who's gonna inspect?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows how to manage the system after it's built. That was what I was working on with them earlier this year and proposed a regional water authority.
Yeah.
Which is, in my view, the only way to manage that system. But and that would take the town out of it, and that would have the people that own the system be in control of the system. They can decide whatever they want. They're representing, it'd be a democratically elected board that represents their people. I don't know how grassroots you can get there. So is there a motion? So
Mary, where are you on voting on this motion?
No, I don't think there's enough information on the table. I don't think it's been researched. I don't even think it's legitimate. No.
This is Dennis. I don't believe this fee was even mentioned at the last WPCA meeting, or the one before that, or the one before that,
was mentioned by
showing dollar
Dimitri.
amounts.
It was
So,
mentioned by Dimitri
I
that
can
he
vote, I
said,
will vote
don't
no
forget
on
about
it.
the hookup fee.
I will vote
But
no on it
I mean,
also.
that's okay. You have the right to vote no, for sure. You know, it's not, I'm sorry, but in our referendum, it says the cost per resident will be determined by an equivalent dwelling unit formula that has been approved by the WPCA. The users would also pay a one-time connection charge and an equivalent dwelling unit charge, as well as an annual charge for usage and system maintenance. I mean, it's pretty clear that people knew about a hookup fee or a connection fee because it's in the referendum. It was in the referendum in 2019.
Is it in this referendum?
Yes, I'm reading it right from the informational sheet. Time, 12 PM to 8 PM, location, Memorial Town Hall. December
I think
16th.
that, I think that people misunderstood. And that when you say connection fee, they were considering that to be the fee to hook from their house to the system, not an additional fee to hook
Well,
into the
I'm
system
sorry if
after you hook. Oh, come on.
But this is not an additional fee. It's the EDU number has stayed the same. It's reducing the EDU number. I mean, you can put zero down if you want. The number's gonna be $38,711. But that would mean that the people that do not have a dwelling on their land will have to pay a connection fee. Or they're paying a portion of what should be a connection fee in their assessment.
Jim
I'm
has his.
sure their property, if they could put a house on something that they can't put on now, will increase enough to cover the assessment. But it's a matter of when you look down the road, if this town doesn't have a connection fee, you'll never recoup your costs. After the assessment's paid and there are people coming in, they get to hook up for free. There's no connection fee. So they just hook up for free.
I don't know what you're talking about. They would pay an assessment just like anybody else, and that hookup, as you call it, would be included in the assessment. No one is going to hook up for free. Jim, do you have your hands up?
Oh, I didn't see
Yeah,
it. Yes, Jim.
Yeah, just a quick question. I know that a couple years ago, there was talk of the connection fee. And then explicitly, pretty much about a year and a half ago, the discussion was, we're rolling the connection fee into the EDU. Some beach associations do, some don't. We had that discussion in the WPCA. What thinking changed in the last couple weeks that we're going back to connection fees? I'm just wondering where this came out of. What prompted it?
I don't remember ever abandoning connection fees. What we tried to do is determine a total cost per EDU. That's the number one thing that you had to do. You can't determine a connection fee or an assessment without a total cost per EDU.
Right.
Right. So let's say someone, this is a prime example. Let's say someone owns a property that they want to put up 12 units on a piece of property that was assessed at 1 EDU because it's blank right now, but they want to put up 12. We can go back and reassess depending on our formula, but then we would also charge the cost per EDU to hook up. I mean, the hookup fee is there for a reason. It's to cover people going out inspecting. It's to do the paperwork. I mean, it's not free to put in a pipe in the ground. It's not free. In this case, what you want to say is we'll throw it into the assessment and then whatever comes later doesn't pay a fee to hook up into our system. If a guy has one EDU now and throws another house on his land and ties in, that's free, I guess.
I also recall, as Jim did, when Chan tried to explain the hookup fee, that Prendergast, everyone had voted to roll that into the EDU because it was just too confusing. The cost, a hookup fee versus my cost to run a pipe to hook up to the lateral. I accept that that's my price. That's not included in the EDU. But anything else in the road is part of the construction, and that is the connection. That was determined by the WPCA. It was voted on. And it
Can you
was
tell me when?
determined,
So we can look it up, Mary?
you look it up, Steve. You were there, and so was Prendergast, and so was Chang. And that's why his formula failed, because there wasn't any agreement about this distinction of the hookup fee.
Then it wasn't voted on, I guess. Because.
I'm
All right,
not-
you want me to sit here, you want to sit here all night with me and we'll go
Because
through all the
Frank-
minutes and we'll see?
Frank's formula was approved.
Pardon?
Frank's
Without
formula
a
was
hook,
approved.
yes, without a hookup fee, yes. Rolling it in and his second
No,
iteration.
and actually, I believe we decided to discuss the hookup fee at a later date.
I believe
my
he rolled it
recollection,
into
and
the
I was
second
here.
iteration of his square footage calculations. He rolled it in because it was just too confusing.
Well, I don't know about that.
Another thing that all job installation, not only from the house to the curb, but all installation of the sewer is gonna be inspected. This person who is gonna inspect it, gonna inspect everything.
It's not gonna, they're gonna be gone. The person that inspects the project work will be gone after the project is done and before homes start hooking in.
What do you mean by he will be gone? He will live somewhere in Connecticut. He will come.
He's
and
not
inspect it.
hired, he's not hired to do that.
If you
He's
want to
hired-
hire
he's
him, it'd be
hired.
higher than $6,000.
He's hired to inspect, this is what the engineering fees are. They're hired to inspect the installation of the project.
And
Once
you're
it's
gonna
done,
keep-
he
you're gonna
leaves.
keep $6,000 for him to come and inspect it after that? Who's gonna inspect it after that?
I don't know, Dimitri, but if there is someone, don't you think they should be paid? Don't you think the town should be reimbursed? Or if the WPCA has to hire someone, don't you think that they should be reimbursed to
And
inspect
another
it?
thing, somebody has an empty lot that possible to have house on. It's not gonna, it's gonna stay in this, in $38,000. We put zero for that hookup now. When
Right.
he's gonna build the house,
He has to go on
one
and pay
family
$6,000.
house, one EDU. He puts commercial house, it's gonna be 1.5 EDU.
Yep,
He's gonna put 12 units condominium, is gonna be 3 EDUs. Or whatever. So there will be charge for that. What's gonna happen with those money that we're gonna get extra?
it's not extra.
I mean, it's. all
It's
the
not in
people-
excess of the 38,000.
270 DUs we have now. If there would be properties more built, that will bring more money
Yeah,
for installation.
I would imagine,
Is it gonna pass to the owners who paid before?
I would imagine it reduces user costs, user fees. Because it goes into, you have to keep a certain amount of money in the bank for emergency repairs. If that money goes into the bank and that fund is met, then you probably don't have to charge that as a user fee.
Say, after all this done, 270 DUs, houses paid for it. Then we have build more houses, they can bring 20 more EDUs.
Okay,
Charge from them, times 38,711. This gonna be twice as much. For, there would be big
it'd be
chunk,
$760,000.
big chunk of money.
Yep,
What's gonna happen is this money?
it's the WPCA's money.
WPCA, that will be town's money,
It will be the WPCA's money.
but paid by whom? By homeowners,
By the homeowners, yeah.
270 DUs charged. This is
I don't-
another question.
I don't understand, well, there is no retroactive, not that I know of.
What I'm
There is
saying,
no retroactive pay back to people.
what I'm,
as users
what
come in.
I'm saying, there would be no problem. You're not gonna lose any money if you're gonna put on this line 000 and bring charge for EDU 38,711.
That's fine.
This is what I'm saying.
All right, and I think that there should be a connection fee. That's what I'm saying.
They would be included in this money that already people are gonna pay for. This, you're not losing nothing.
Well, except that, how do you charge an assessment to, like, if someone adds onto their building?
That
You
will be
charge them an
paid,
assessment?
$38,711 will be paid within 4 years with 2% increase. Those money is gonna be collected eventually.
Well,
In 4 years.
it's collected and it pays off the loan.
Yeah, that's paying for the
We're
pipe.
not collecting that money and keeping it. We're collecting that money to pay off the DEP loan.
This will
The
be,
connection fee
this will
is,
be money by DEP. Charge, they're gonna charge, give us 25% plus 15 million.
no, I understand that, but the connection fee is designed to pay for the employees that are inspecting the service connections at the current time.
From
So,
that money.
From the time, the WPCA is gonna need employees. You're gonna have to have an employee that
Or
is an inspector that has a pick, right, an employee by the town.
It should be,
And he's gonna have a pickup truck and he's gonna have insurance and he's gonna have a salary
Those
and
money already will be given to the town.
from what? The $38,000 is paying for the pipe.
Okay, look, you don't understand what I'm saying. When
Okay.
you get $38,000, $38,711, and 50% of the state already pays.
no, it's not. This is after all the money has been granted and funded out. This is the loan value. This is what's left. We're funding $9,415,000. That's after all the money.
25% they pay.
No, they've already paid the 25%, they've already paid the $15 million, they've already paid the 25% to the shared infrastructure. That's the remaining value of our note. That's what we owe DEP.
Okay, this is money gonna be paid eventually by the people owners.
Yes,
Okay, so those money is gonna be paid to somebody.
it's gonna be collected by the WPCA and then,
So
and
we are
then
gonna
paid,
have this
and then
money.
paid to the DEP.
Okay, so we would have this money.
We won't have this money. I mean, we might have it for a couple of days, but it's gonna revolve.
Well,
It's like this, it's like if you have a loan on your truck and it's due on the 1st. And you get paid, the same exact money on the 29th. You deposit that check and then on the 1st, you gotta take that money and pay your note. That's what we're doing. We're collecting the interest, we're charging our users a fee for the year to pay the loan off. That's what this represents. It also pays off the connection fee to East Lyme in London. But the $38,711 includes, it's all it pays for is the 2 connection fees to East Lyme and New London and the principal plus interest on the DEP loan. That's it.
so it's gonna pay also to this money that we are gonna have paying for connection. They're gonna be included $6,000 more there.
Well, that would reduce the assessed value. All it does is reduce the assessed value.
Right, that's the goal. I
That's
do
to make
clearly
this look
remember.
better. That's
I
all
do
it
cle-
is to make it look better.
Right, I do clearly remember that Chan first said an EDU was 15,000 plus 6 for the connection fee. In his second iteration, he changed it and said an EDU was 21,000, including the connection fee. I could go back and get those numbers because I do have them on my laptop if you like, but I do know that that was a change that was made by this WPCA. In my opinion, you do not know, and you have not retained anybody who is a professional and licensed to come and do the inspection. And until you do, you don't know what the cost of that is. And so therefore, I think that that is part of the project. That is a project cost that is part of the capital build. Even though the pipes are in the ground, the project is not complete until people hook up to it and start and hook up to it. So in my
That's
opinion.
incorrect, Mary. Man, I'm
In my,
sorry.
Steve, let
In
me
your
finish and then you can
opinion-
have the floor as soon as I'm finished, okay? Thank you. In my opinion, since you don't know what, you haven't retained anybody, you have no estimates of what that would cost. Until you do, you cannot set a dollar number to it. But you do have to include it as part of the project cost, as was done prior by this WPCA. I know that your goal is to make the EDU sound better or lower so that it fits under the state statute or whatever, but it will still be challenged because it is the total cost to the homeowner and not just the build. And you've been told that by different attorneys, so I think
I have
it's a
not
moot
been
point.
told that by any attorney.
I could give you the letters, okay? I have copies, I'll send them to you. That you received.
Well,
right. So, thank you. Is there a motion to reduce, do you want to amend this motion to reduce the cost or the cost per, for the, hookup fee? Do you want to bring it more in line with the average of the state? Do you want to bring it in line with basically the cost to hook up to East Lyme in London?
Do you want to modify it? And since
Of
it's your
course.
motion,
Rob, do you want to modify?
I guess I would lean towards 4,000.
The same cost to the E EDU?
Yeah, it would be reduced, it would reduce the EDU by 4,000. Are you okay with that?
It's your motion, so.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked, as long as I've been on the WPCA over 4 years, we've always talked about 6,000. So,
I heard that number too.
uh, that goes back to Chan and Brennergas and so forth. There was discussion, I don't have the minutes in front of me, there was discussion, with respect to
There
Mr.
was discussion
Lampost's.
considering,
Hang on a minute, I'm not finished, so I'll certainly let you speak when I'm done. With respect to Jim's Lampos's point, there was discussion about rolling it into the EDU, but that was not voted on in my recollection. I think Rob was on the board at the time as well. Andrea, I think you were on the board. I don't recall us ever voting on that. So there was discussion about it. We've also changed the EDU formula since those discussions took place. So that's really a moot point at this stage of the game. So, I work on sewer projects all the time. My role is in making sure that the systems are built such that they don't corrode or degrade prematurely. But every project that I've worked on in small towns, most of them are big towns, big cities, everybody has both big and small hookup or connection fees to the system. So, I'll certainly, if we think $4,000 is a fair number based on the state average, then I'd accept that.
What do you see for fees in your work?
What's that?
What range of fees do you see?
Well, it's all over the place. I mean, in Massachusetts, it's much higher than what you've talked about here on average, for
And
example.
what generates that increase?
$5,000, $6,000, $7,000.
What factors contribute to that?
Usually more complicated traffic control, lots of other things. I mean, just.
Do we, based on our project, what would be your opinion?
I felt like $6,000 was a good number based on work around the country, but.
Stick with your motion.
I think the $6,000 number is a safe number for us to look after the system in the future, so. That's,
Now,
I'm
may I
gonna, I'm
talk?
gonna stay with my motion.
May I talk? First of all, when I've been on this commission for 28 years. Okay, and I didn't miss any meetings. So I was under impression, like Mary was, and Dennis Maluza, that this money we were talking about for hookup, it's a price owner pays for contractor who hired by owner to connect from the house to the curb. I was under this impression. So this is misunderstanding. Now, I think when I was hooking up Point of Woods, I was hooking up the time when Corp already had a pipe. The contractors were working. I was finishing that before all is done. So the person who checks contractors who put sewer lines all over, they were on the site. So it's not like something they put, when house has already this pipe, next day contractor comes and hooks up to the house. So there is no something like somebody should come special after all, like few months later. This time, houses hook up, Point of Woods got ledges.
Yeah.
$200 a foot to bring pipe in the ledge.
But that's a different.
All right.
No, I'm talking about different things.
I'm going to call the question now.
So I think if we are talking about lowering price to 4,000, it's a plenty of money. What are you gonna think about? They come, they hook up and they inspect it.
I'm gonna call the question. Randy has decided not to change his motion. So the motion, could you read it again one more time, please?
I make a motion to allocate $6,000 per EDU as a hookup fee to the system, which will reduce the betterment assessment by that same value. The hookup fee will be charged at the time of completion of the Sound Beach and miscellaneous town area B sewer project for any property that has a dwelling. The hookup fee can be paid in full at the time of invoicing, or it can be combined with the betterment assessment and financed at a rate of 2% compounded yearly.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
I,
Aye.
Please say your names.
So I'll say, Randy Nixon, Andrea Lombardi, Corey, sorry, Rob McCarthy and Brad Yerkes have voted aye in favor. That's 5. All against, please
No.
say
No.
no.
No,
No,
All not in favor is Mary Daly, Dennis Maluzzo, Brian Connell, and Dmitry Polchinski. Motion. I think I have too many people. Motion passes 5-4. Dennis, you can't vote. Because I swore in Brian.
Dennis is a full voting member.
I'm a full
He
member.
wasn't here at the time. He was not here at the time of Dart, and I swore in Brian Connell to take his place,
Okay, fine.
right?
We still have enough people, we still have enough.
Finished 5-4. With me not voting at all, which would mean 10.
9 people. Okay.
There's only nine voting members, so I'm technically a voting member for with.
Sorry, Dennis.
There was a tie.
So the motion passes 5-3. With the chair not voting. Let's see. I'm going to on new business B, discuss shared infrastructure costs and payment via ARPA, I guess,
APR.
APR funds.
Oh, ARPA.
ARPA.
ARPA
It's
funds.
only been
Um,
2 years.
I just want, it's set forth, this should be a quick vote. I'd like a motion that says that any fees dealing with that are outside of, CWF be paid for out of that account.
So we're already doing that.
Yeah.
Explain to me why you want a motion.
Well, I think we're only doing that because, we agreed to do that right
It's in the
now.
Board of Finance minutes.
It's in the Board of Finance minutes. Okay, so we don't need a motion. So I've asked Frank,
Well, maybe we do. I didn't think we did. It's in the Board of Finance minutes. And the money's in-
26.
they have to be spent 26.
By
What I don't want,
December
what I don't want to happen is, incurring infrastructure bills like that,
Yeah.
shared infrastructure, and having this body say, we're not gonna pay that one.
Will there be bills beyond December 2026?
Well, I think they're gonna be billed beyond January 1st, 2026.
So then.
We have a year to spend that money,
Years.
but
But then when
it's
you
always,
get
it's always up to this board to spend that money. And I would hate to see it not spent at all and given back because people don't wanna work together with the beaches.
May I ask the question, were the ARPA funds given to this WPCA to support the town project or to support the entire infrastructure? Were they supposed to be applied to the town's share?
No, as a matter of
No.
fact, they were the opposite. They were designated to be spent on the shared infrastructure
Okay,
and only the
fine.
shared infrastructure.
And who designated that? Who made that decision?
The Board of Finance
Thank you.
The ARPA committee.
and the ARPA committee,
And the what? The
ARPA
ARPA committee?
committee, that broke up the $2 million grant that was given to the town into the different agencies.
I looked it up in the minutes before we started approving those costs.
And what costs do you envision seeing as the shared is being covered by the state? What cost to
It's,
some view area B that you envision for $158,000? You can't put it into the police, you can't put it into anything else other than the shared. You can't maneuver it anywhere you want to do it. It's got to go into the shared
into
system.
the shared, right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So how about all the
What-
engineering work
what
for the
areas-
bridges?
What
You've been
areas
paying-
is that going to
I'm sorry,
cover?
Dennis, you asked a question. We've been paying the engineering firm for liaison work between the bridge engineer and the engineer, our engineer, Fuss O'Neill, on the shared infrastructure. There have been not significant costs, but it's been probably $15,000, $20,000 of liaison costs between the two engineering firms to assist the bridge people so the bridge people, we can't go into their area of work. They're responsible to put in our pipe and everything else. But Fuss and O'Neill is still responsible to review all their submittals and stuff. They're responsible for attending meetings. I mean, the liaison between the two is not the easiest. But that's one way of spending it. We've been spending this money on the CSA. We got opinion from council that says this definitely supports the shared infrastructure. It's all about the shared infrastructure. And furthermore, the legal fees to that aren't even reimbursable by the state. So that's another way we've been spending that money. It's been reported on every time we spend it. So you can go back into the minutes and see, but going forward, I would hope that this body continues to support that funding, and not lose it. Just, I think it's about $158,000. Yeah, those pay attorney's fees. And shared infrastructure. So, all right, I guess we don't need a motion, on that. It does concern me, however. Old business,
So you want it in the minutes. So I don't.
There you go.
who's this?
Nice talking to his dog.
Oh,
Oh.
old business, any old business?
Not now.
Any correspondence?
I would like to, at some point, am I allowed to speak to Jason? If he's still
Sure.
on, I can't tell.
He's
Yeah,
on.
He's on?
I don't know if Jason's on.
Yes, I'm on.
Oh,
Okay, there.
Yeah,
All
okay,
right, there you go.
Jason, all right, yes,
Yep.
you can ask the question, Jason, before we go into public comment, which I have to get an motion to add.
Jace, Mary and I spent about 5.5 hours going over the design of Somview and Area B. And we located about 28 errors on the design. Now, those errors, are they going to be classified as change orders? Or are those errors going to be rectified before the build? And if so, does that change the dollar amount that is involved?
Yeah, I'd have to, you'd have to send a list of what those are, before we could evaluate what the costs are. But this is a unit price contract, so, there's bid
And-
items for
and
the
we're
contractor
talking-
for various items, so.
Okay, and I'm talking about big differences in laterals, big differences in buildings where the present system is and the proposed system is probably 60 feet away. Those types of things are going to add cost to this project in change orders, and that's what I'm looking at. And I don't
What's your-
think anybody else is looking at it.
Let Jason answer this. Or, Jason, can I ask a question before you answer that? I
Sure.
think what he's getting at is if the lateral location changes on a property, is that going to be a change order? Let's say you designed it on the northeast corner and the property owner wants it on the northwest corner. Does the contractor get a change order for that?
No, that would just be the unit price, whether it's lot at one end of the lot or the other. That could be moved and that would have no impact on cost.
As a matter of fact, aren't we requiring the contractor to confirm all lateral locations with the residents before putting it in?
Correct, yeah.
Is that
Right,
Because
yeah.
I
and
know
the-
I've never gotten anything from Woodward and Kern in regards to the proposed lateral on my house.
You haven't
Never,
started
nothing.
construction.
Well,
You don't have a
I
signed
know some
contract.
people have gotten postcards.
You don't
and
have a
letters.
signed contract with a contractor yet, Dennis. The
I'm
contractor,
saying there are
the
some people
contractor
in the
is
neighborhood.
responsible to
You know, I can
confirm.
talk over you just as much as you can talk over me.
Not really.
You know,
Um,
I think
The
so.
contractor,
I think
the
so.
contractor is responsible to confirm with the homeowner where they want their lateral. We do not have a signed contract with a contractor. Therefore, you haven't been contacted yet. It's a requirement in the contract that he do that, though.
There are some residents that got letters regarding their laterals. And some of us didn't. And this is from probably 2 years ago. That's the reason why I'm saying.
I think it's
That-
longer. I think it's longer than that. I think it was more like 5 years ago at this point. But yeah, so we did send out a preliminary survey back, I think,
Thank
in
you.
2020, and it went to all the addresses in the Soundview area and Town Area B. We got some responses, and we still have those on file.
Well, I can tell you, I never got one for my property,
All right,
but that's not a problem.
So Jason, this is Andrea. Can you just define a unit price contract for us? What does that mean?
a unit price contract means, a lateral or the sewer main is gonna cost so much per foot. A manhole is going to cost so much per vertical foot.
Okay,
A manhole frame and cover is gonna cost so much per frame and cover each. A lateral would cost so much per linear foot. It goes on and on, but most of the items, 95% of all the items in there are probably, unit pricing. There may be some lump sum pricing in there for miscellaneous things.
thank you.
All right.
I understand.
So may I have a motion, since some people have stayed? Well, one person has stayed, to include public comment in this, probably people online also, to include public comment in this, meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Thank you. Is there any public comment? I'll take people here first.
Sure.
Just state your name.
Tom Grant, Old Lyme resident. My question is, I fail to understand why we're approving a project cost estimated at $20,528,000. You've determined it should cost $9,265,000. I don't understand that.
So the 20 million represents the total cost that could be incurred by the town if no grant money or principal forgiveness, which is approximately 50%, is being offered by DEEP. And so if the DEEP says, you got to sign all these contracts and then renege on all their promises and their contract with us and says, we're not paying you grant money, we have to bond for that figure. However, DEEP is paying close to 50% of the cost. So in the end, when we have a bill for $1 million, they give us $1 million check and they put $500,000 against our account. And the rest is forgiven. And so at the end, when we incur around $20 million, we only have $9.4 million of actual loan value.
Then it's potentially deceptive to say in the referendum that the cost has gone from $9.5 million to $20 million.
No, I don't think so. Why is that deceptive?
Well, it's deceptive because it is anticipated that the DEP is going to cover these grants.
So, but when we did the initial 9.5 million, that was, and this was back before COVID, super inflation, all that, but back in, I think, 2017, that figure was developed by the engineers. That was our cost, that was our anticipated cost, complete cost.
Okay.
So
then my question becomes, how do you go from $9.5 million to $20.5 million?
well,
In
you get,
6 years, that's 35% inflation a year. That's ridiculous.
I don't know if it's 35%.
Yeah, I calculated it before I came here.
All right,
That's
well,
ridiculous.
the only thing I can tell you is this, it's not going any lower. Prices are not going back down to before pre-COVID. COVID had a huge impact on construction and materials. I believe that COVID has placed contractors out of business that couldn't last that long. And what's left is the supply and demand. And until that equalizes to some degree, costs are gonna continue to go up. They've almost leveled in the last 6 months, I believe, but I mean, I owned a contracting company and I'm thinking about going back into it because I can't believe the pricing. I mean, it's,
Steve, since
it's
this is a
hot.
special meeting, I don't think you can vote to change the agenda in a special meeting and add public comment. It's a special meeting. It's not a regular meeting. You're not supposed to change the agenda or vote on changing the agenda.
Fine by me.
Okay,
We'll strike his remarks from the record.
thank you.
In that case, I'm sorry, people, if, is that true? Yeah. In that case, we will have to, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.